Hey there, food fans. Welcome back to the Food for Thoughtcast with me, your host, Melissa Reagan, and my co host with the most, Chef Steven Gonzalez. What's up, Steve?
Hi, how's it going?
Oh, it's going.
Yeah,
It's pretty amazing. How about you?
same. So far, so good. Everything is going pretty smooth.
Nice, nice. What's the most amazing thing you ate this week?
So the most amazing thing that I'm about to eat this week is we're going to
Mm.
be making some green chili chicken enchiladas,
Oh my God.
and so that'll be the most amazing thing. I haven't had it just yet. So
That sounds, I got two words for you. FedEx. You
right,
have to send it here.
well,
Awesome.
you know me. I always break it down to make it look easy, and we make it easy because that's what we do.
Yeah. Hey,
The
I
way it should
really,
be.
really like Easy. I'm a fan of Easy for
The
sure.
way it should be. Exactly.
It is the way it should be. I had chicken and waffles.
Nice.
Yeah, super delicious. Put some frozen chicken nuggets in the air fryer because hashtag easy.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and made a giant waffle. I put some vanilla protein powder in there, but it's not even necessary. I just want to get more protein, but would have been delicious either way. And I put hot sauce and syrup on it, and it did not disappoint.
Oh, nice.
So yeah.
I bet
So
it sounds like it was good altogether.
do you ever put? I learned a new thing recently, Steven. Do you ever put protein powder in a baked good?
You can. Yeah, I've done it before. It's not my favorite.
Yeah. Is why isn't it your favorite? Is it the texture or the flavor or both?
Both.
Okay. Um, I've been playing around and I bought this vanilla protein powder. Sometimes for people out there, right, just to understand, I'm not a health guru, I'm not a nutritionist or anything like that. Sometimes I like to have protein powder on hand if I just need like a quick 25 grams of protein, 100 calories. Like I'm on the go all the time.
Hmm.
So I like to just put it in a shaker bottle with water. It's not like the most glamorous way. Sometimes I put like sugar-free Nesquik in there to make like chocolate milk or whatever. But I bought this. The regular kind of protein powder I usually buy was out, and I bought a different one, and it has like a really strong French vanilla flavor, like super duper. It's just very very pronounced and very. I'm
Yeah.
just like, there's no way I can drink this at all. There's nothing I can mix this with that's going to make me want it. So before I threw it away or gave it away, I started to try to try some new things. And one of the things I learned last week is that you can balance out the fake vanilla flavor with cinnamon and a little salt.
Hmm.
So I put this protein powder into regular old like waffle mix because again, easy, like add water waffle mix. But I
Yeah.
put cinnamon and a pinch of salt in there, and I used a little bit of extra virgin olive oil as the fat component instead of like
Okay.
butter. Not because I'm making a statement against butter, because like I don't have any. That's why. And anyway, it didn't taste fake. It didn't taste like protein powder. It didn't taste like vanilla. So I was very very impressed. Like
Interesting.
I was like, this just tastes like a waffle. Like I like it. So
Hmm.
the more you know. It's the things I
Right.
learned. It's the things I learned. Yeah, rabbit hole of all the multiple Reddit pages about how do I not get my food to taste like protein powder.
I just usually mix it with like a little peanut butter or something, just to help. That's just me though.
No, I love peanut butter, but I have to be careful with it. I love it almost too much. Like yeah.
It is good.
So I kind of save it now for like PB&J sandwich, and that's about it. Maybe in oatmeal.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah. Hey, so guess how many waffles I made at one time, Steve?
3.
Well, I spent about 40 minutes. I made 8 in a row. Do you know why?
So you could have some for later.
Yeah, because I froze them in Ziploc bags so that I could just have waffle on the go,
Oh, nice.
or waffle for the now. But
Yeah.
my strategy was I'm going to spend 45 minutes doing this so that I can have a waffle all week. I can have different things with it, fruit,
Oh,
chocolate chips, yogurt, whatever, or I can just shove it into a paper towel and eat it while I'm driving to
I
work.
see what you're doing there. Like a meal
Yeah.
prep, huh?
Like a meal prep, which is what we're going to talk about today. You like that? The super awkward, drawn out segue. But yeah, here we are. We're talking about meal prepping today.
What's your take
So,
on meal prep? What?
well, it saves me for the most part. I used to try to make it really, really overcomplicated, but right now I'm in a really good place where I just learned like you can just eat the same thing every day. Like it's okay to do
Hmm.
that. And
Yeah.
and if you don't, if you're like absolutely against that and don't like doing it, guess what? Like there's some little tips and tricks and shortcuts you can use to where you can kind of bulk prep one part of it, right? And then you can make it to where it'll have some variety,
There's all
right?
sorts of there's all sorts of
Yeah.
variations. I like it.
Yeah. What about you? You've been doing it.
I've been doing it for since January, and as tired of it as I am, it definitely makes my life a lot easier and structured. And there are days where when I run out of food, I'm like, oh, I need to make more meals, but just suck it up and do it.
Mm-hmm.
And I keep it kind of boring and basic, but I do feel better whenever I do meal prep.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of formulaic, but it really keeps me just. It's just nice to not have to make another decision after I've worked all day,
Yeah.
and B, like to know that there's food here and not just ingredients for food. Like if I come home and there's only stuff to make stuff, I don't want to do anything.
Yeah.
I don't. It has to be something I can grab
I just
right
want
away.
something simple. Yeah.
So,
Simple and fast.
yeah. In the spirit of
But
simple and fast, do you know what I bought a couple weeks ago? And I
what's
forgot to
that?
tell you. So in honor of our TV dinners episode, I was walking up and down the frozen aisle. I was actually looking for just a vegetable blend. Sometimes I get bored with like broccoli, cauliflower, so I was just kind of seeing what was around.
Uh-huh.
And I passed all the frozen dinners, and I didn't realize that like Nighthawk had kind of rebranded itself, and so the box looks completely different. They're trying to make it look all fancy, but I got a Nighthawk frozen dinner, and it was you're gonna love this. It was so it says the word steak is like in giant font, but the word chopped is like in like size 8.
Ooh.
Like it's like chopped steak with butter or herb garlic broccoli.
That's how they
Right?
get you.
Yeah. So I was like, ooh, this will be cool. Yeah, guys, it was a hamburger patty. It was like a hamburger patty with some sort of
That's
butter,
how they get you.
kind of butter and broccoli. But man, I decided I wasn't going to be sad and eat it out of the plastic. I microwaved it according to the directions, and then I plated it with a baked potato, and it wasn't like half bad. It wasn't terrible. So
Huh.
yeah,
Interesting.
the meat was kind of gristly. I mean, but it started me thinking like, what's to keep me from just making like 5 baked potatoes and enough 5 servings of broccoli and like 5 burger patties, which is essentially is what it is.
Right?
So, and chopsteak's a misnomer. Like a chopped steak is actually like somebody jacquard or like tenderizes like the crap out of a baseball cut sirloin, and they can call that chopsteak, but it's not always just like a hamburger patty with gravy. You know what I mean?
The stereotype is that it is, though.
Yeah, I mean, if I want hamburger steak, then I want hamburger steak. Like I want like brown gravy and grilled onions, and mashed potato, like crap mashed, not good mashed potatoes, crap mashed potatoes. Like
Like powdered mashed potatoes from a
yes,
box.
yes, Idaho and 4 cheese. Shout out.
Okay.
Yes.
Well then. Well then.
So, but the answer is nothing's keeping me from making 5 servings of that. You know,
Yeah. No, I agree.
super easy with a little organization. So, what have you haven't been meal prepping the same thing since January, have you?
So it's been like 2 days and 3 days, 2 days and 3 days. And so like for 2 days I'll do a little bit like red meat, and I'll do like chicken thighs and turkey and stuff like that. And then like 3 days is just clean, like chicken breast and broccoli and kale. And like I said, I as good as it is, you do get kind of tired of it, but you just have to get creative with how you prepare it. So, some weeks I'll smoke it, the chicken that is. Some weeks I'll sous vide it. Some weeks I'll just oven roast it. It all just
Mhm.
depends. And if you marinate it, you got to make sure that the marinades you use are good and they're not overly salty, not too much sugar. Like there's a bunch of different factors that I take into account.
Yeah, I mean, some people meal prep for convenience. Some people meal prep because it's not only for convenience, but it's like when I talked about Uber Eats. Like I just get decision paralysis. I don't want to like make that many decisions, right? So
Right.
so it's convenient, and it's also like it really helps some people's mental health to not have to make all the decisions. Kind of have like
Mhm.
a plug and play situation, and then also some people are doing it for health reasons. So
Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
I'm doing mine more for the health reasons, but
Hmm.
like I said, you get tired of it after a while, so you just have to keep pushing through. But that's why I try like once a week I'll try to make a video, and it's whatever I want to make. And I try to make just enough to get through like a meal or maybe two at the most, but it all just depends.
I mean, one of the reasons it's not just convenience, like also speed or, yeah, speed and priorities. Like one of the reasons I meal prep breakfast is because I am going to sleep until 30 minutes before I have to leave the house for work.
Yeah.
That's it. I'm prioritizing sleep over whatever 10 minutes it would take me to eat breakfast, and I'm going to spend that 10 minutes like, you know, drinking a cup of coffee,
Yeah.
sitting quietly. Maybe I'm sleeping in 10 extra minutes, right? But there's a tremendous amount of activity that I can fit into the 30 minutes between getting out of bed and leaving for the day, which includes like
I could
feeding
see
my
that. Yeah.
feeding my dogs and moving laundry from the washer to the dryer. I don't want cooking to be anywhere in there. If I can't grab it out of the fridge and microwave it, or grab it out of the fridge and eat it cold, I'm not interested.
Yeah. I can see where you're coming from.
Yeah,
That's
I just like, I'd rather sleep.
Yeah.
No
Again,
thanks.
makes life easier.
Yeah, no thanks. So when you are not um, doing the very very simple meal prep, did you do anything else before January? Like, would you make like a huge batch of?
Yeah,
Um,
pretty much, and I still do that now. Like
yeah.
all it's either it all depends on the components. So like the chicken breast, I'll get like the big packs of chicken breast, and
Hmm.
I'll just cook it all off, make a ton of vegetables, and put them all in separate containers. And then like I'll start portioning and putting like actual meals together. And sometimes I'll get enough to last like 3 days. Sometimes I'll get enough to last like 6 days, and it's like, by day six, you're like, I'm tired of this already.
I think 4 days is my limit.
Uh huh.
I always have to have like one day in a week where I'm gonna go out to eat. It's just like a little treat. And it has to break up the monotony, or like you talked about, a giant bag of frozen chicken. The
Uh-huh.
prices right now on frozen beat fresh, like
Oh yeah, by
hands down.
far.
So yeah, I bought a 3 pound bag of boneless, skinless chicken thighs frozen, but I prepped half like fajitas.
Mhm.
Like I put them in the oven, seared on the stove, put them in the oven, peppers and onions, fajita seasoning, right? And then the other half
Yeah.
I put in the crock pot and shredded it up, and it was for either to put inside baked potatoes or for burritos. So
Nice.
yeah, and the fajita one I didn't use for fajitas; it's just kind of like in that style, right? So I just ate it with like vegetables.
Yeah. I I feel like the quality from frozen chicken doesn't always come out the best, but you know, there are times where I have made it and I do impress myself, but for the most part, it's like, more chicken, more
Well,
chicken.
it's kind of like anything frozen, right? You have to account for, you don't know how long it's been in the freezer, so you hope it hasn't been forever. And
Right.
then and eat like even when you buy it. And then the other thing is like it's just going to be kind of watery. You just have to treat it a little bit, not watery, but it's going to hold more liquid. You
Yeah.
just have to treat it just a little bit differently. But I had great success. Like you would be so proud of me. I'm warming up to this air fryer. It actually belongs to my brother, so I don't know what I'm going to do when I move to North Carolina, but
Just gonna have to buy one.
gonna have to break down and buy one.
Yep.
I don't hate. We're not enemies now. I don't hate it. We're just kind of coexisting at the moment. But I did put those frozen chicken thighs in the air fryer, and I was really impressed with what it could do in like 20 minutes.
Mhm.
It was, and they were crispy. I was like, what is this voodoo witchcraft science? Like, what is this? So
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where, you know, I as much as I want to meal prep like with an air fryer, my air fryer wouldn't be I feel like if I was to do like chicken or something like that, it would just be really dry on the outside and raw in the center. That's
mm,
my only hesitation for
mm.
using my air fryer. But with a lot of other stuff, it always comes out really good. So maybe I just need to get over that fear. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I mean, I don't. I think that fear is healthy though, because even there are a lot of like, if we're talking about frozen meat, there are a lot of frozen products out there that are coming with directions for the air fryer now. It's
Yeah.
just like it's just like everything only used to have oven, stovetop, microwave, and then they started doing like toaster oven because it's a little bit different. It's
Oh yeah, most
it's like
definitely.
a baby oven. And now a lot of things have air fryer directions. I don't trust it, dude. I still don't trust it. I'm using a thermometer for every piece of meat that comes out of the air fryer. Like, and sometimes it's really right on, and sometimes it's like, oh, I could have died. Nope, nope. I just
Yeah.
how can you even trust this? At least in an oven, for all the years of experience I have, I can look at something, I could smell, right? And I can be like, yes, this seems like a reasonable amount of time for the thickness of meat that I put in here, you know,
Hmm.
for this type of preparation. And I can eyeball it, or I can give directions to somebody. I'm not a walking recipe encyclopedia, but there's formulas, you know.
Yeah.
And so I can be like, yes, if you have this size chicken breast, you're going to cook it this many minutes at this temperature. The air fryer, I'm like, I don't, it's like a, I don't know. This is like a jet. It's like a jet panel of instruments. Like, I don't understand what's happening here.
Yeah.
So, so what would your advice be to somebody who wants to meal prep, or maybe just get even more organized, but they don't know where to start?
I mean, what I always do is always make sure that I have like all those containers for meal preps. That always saves you a bunch of time. It's
Hmm.
simplifying everything. So like it depends on, are you making a grain? Are you meal prepping like a pasta, like a whole grain pasta, or uh what's your protein? So I always try to go for like cost effective, because that's always a big one for me. But also like what's the quality? So make sure like if you're gonna go with something like chicken breast, it's you're not gonna get something that's gonna last you like more than 4 days, because by day 4, you're already starting to get a little bit tired of what you're making. Um,
Yeah.
and then just setting time aside really to just make sure that um, you have that time to prep, because it's not like it takes 30 minutes and yeah, you're done. It takes like about an hour,
Hmm.
the majority of the times. So, like, what I always do is I'll just throw a bunch of broccoli, like, or vegetables into the oven. And while that's going, I'll either, again, it depends if I'm, how I'm cooking my protein, whether it's chicken, sirloin, ground turkey, whatever the case is. I try to keep it all going all simultaneously, so that way it all kind of wraps up together. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Right.
And yeah, I mean, that's kind of the key to my success. And then the biggest thing is just making sure that you're going to enjoy it. So if you're going for health, make sure you add a bunch of seasonings that don't have any sugar to it. If you're going to marinate something, again, no sugar, things like that. But if you're going just like for simplicity, by all means, make whatever you want as much as you want. And I mean, just know that you're eating the same thing day in, day out.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. It's like whatever anybody's goals are, if you're trying to cut out sugar, fat, or carbs for whatever reason, right? That's everybody's personal deal. But those things you have to replace with something that has flavor, because those items give food flavor for sure.
Yep.
So you
Oh,
just have
yeah.
to make sure that A, right, you're replacing the flavor, and then B, like Steve says, it really has to be something you want to eat, or you're wasting your time.
Yeah.
There are
Most
a lot of
definitely.
elaborate meal prep recipes out there, but I really like what Steve does as well, and I do a lot of it, what you would call a tray bake. So
Oh, yeah.
I will line a cookie sheet. I have really large cookie sheets. They're kind of like industry size, because what you traditionally know, right, is a cookie sheet that has like the roll up edges, or maybe it has no edges on it. For me, that doesn't work. So I use what we call in the industry sheet pans. I will line them with parchment or foil, and yeah, I'm gonna lay all the vegetables out. But this way, you can have half the pan seasoned one way, and you can have half the pan seasoned another way. I'm not against like a pre-made seasoning packet. What about you? Or a blend?
Um, I don't mind a blend from time to time.
Yeah.
Um, but it also depends on what kind of mood I'm in. Like, you know what I'm saying? So
Yeah,
if
I
I keep
mean,
it, yeah.
if if I open my spice cabinet right now, there's probably 40 kinds of barbecue seasoning in there. There's Finch, there's Meat Church, there's Salt Lick, there are all sort. A lot of those belong to my brother. It's like he goes to, or there's all the Kinder seasonings are in there, like all that stuff.
Hmm. Yeah.
Because if he goes to the store and there's one he hasn't seen, he buys it. Like it's a whole thing. And so, but yeah, they've all been opened and they're all being used. So
My thing is that like if I don't like having a ton of different seasonings, blends that is because I
mhm.
want to just use up what I have first. So
Yeah,
I get
sure.
halfway through of like specific seasoning, and then my wife brings in more seasonings, more blends, things like that. It's like I was there, stop doing that. Like I don't want to have this pantry full of stuff I'm not going to use.
Right.
So I
I
have
mean,
to try to use it all, you know?
I have magnetized spice holders, and I got on this. They're on the side of the fridge. They're like little
Mhm.
metal canisters. Most of the time, I hit them on the way to my laundry room, and they fall down. I can tell you that these were a really great idea as an idea, but the execution was poor. So the humidity in Texas is just either the spices get clumpy or the
Mhm.
between the canister and the lid, it's gotten rust. And so for my money, I know there's all sort of opinions out there about plastic, but like I'm kind of down for a plastic shaker bottle.
Oh
It's
yeah, same
it's
here.
insect proof and hopefully it's, BPA free, but even if it's not, it's like I'm going to take what I can get at this point because I've kind of
Yeah.
tried. I was on this kick where I was making mason jars of like homemade taco seasoning and homemade ranch seasoning. At the end of the day though, like the biggest concern that a lot of people have with the pre-prepared seasonings is like the anti-caking agents. Like it's
Mhm.
it's no different than putting a raw rice in a salt shaker to keep the humidity from affecting it. Like it's not
That
like
makes sense.
there's a fear mongering out there that's like it's antifreeze. It's the same. No, no, it's not. It's no different than a silica packet coming with a package of guitar strings to keep the humidity from affecting it. Right? Like don't eat the silica packet and you'll be fine. And the same for the anti-caking agents that or like they're very derivative like cream and tartar, right? Like there's
Yeah.
nothing harmful in there. The only thing that I would say is like if you're trying to cut out sodium, obviously a pre-made spice blend is probably not the way to go. You
Probably
know?
not. I don't know. There's a lot of spice blends that I've had that are, that claim to have salt in them and they have
Yeah,
no flavor. You
they're
taste
also
everything but salt.
bland. Yeah, I mean, hey, just read the labels or whatever's important for you. Like just be informed via what the label has on it. Danos is a really great, you know, I've I found a lot of success with Danos. I don't prefer Mrs. Dash. It just tastes like there's a lot of pepper in every single blend.
I've, I've never been a big Mrs. Dash person.
I don't care for it. But
Yeah.
yeah, all that to say, if you're the kind of person that needs a different flavor on a vegetable or protein every day, like I think seasoning blend is a great way to do that. Or
Yeah, most
marinades,
definitely.
marinades, like Steve said. Um, I love putting 3-4 pounds of meat into the crock pot, shredding it, and then, but just not unseasoned is how I approach it from the beginning.
Yeah.
Drain all the juice out because you have like chicken broth or whatever it is, right? Save that for something else. Freeze it if you're not going to use it. But I like to season each kind of container of shredded chicken differently. One might have a teriyaki, one might have barbecue. One
Oh,
might have
nice.
a chili crunch. One might have Louisiana hot sauce, or I might throw like the blue cheese crumble, or you know, sometimes I get bored, and then sometimes I get on this food kick where I can eat. I've just eaten the same thing for lunch like the past 6 days in a row. So
Yeah,
yeah.
it was funny because I got a bag of like frozen chicken breasts and I threw like half a bag of chicken thighs and it
Hmm.
came out to so much before it was cooked. And then of course it all cooked down. It was like next to nothing. So I was like, what happened to the rest of it, you know? So
where's all this? Where is it?
yeah. I thought it was gonna last me all week. It's probably gonna last me like 2 more days. So a total of 3, 4
No.
still. But I also, it's like I say, I also like to do like the lean steaks, like sirloin stuff like that, and I season those quite heavily, and
Hmm.
because I've learned like when you throw like some of your blends on there, just blend. It's like, where's the rest of this flavor? What the hell's going on? And it makes you
Yeah.
question yourself as like a food advocate. You're like, oh yeah,
It's
you want to make good food, and then you're making food for yourself that's just bland. It's like, what the hell's going on?
it's hard.
Contradiction much, huh?
Yeah, I mean it's hard with steak, right? It's like one of those things where you want to season the crap out of it, but you also want a nice hard sear on it. Well, then the seasoning just ends up burning. Like it's just
Yeah.
like a catch 22, and then it's like, oh well, I love the taste of burnt pepper. Great.
Oh
Like
yeah.
this is not, you know,
It's
this
like
is
that's when you're supposed to be grilling it, you know what I'm saying? That's
yeah.
meant more for the grill. I did that one time with, some sirloins, and I put a seasoning blend on it, and I put it on
Mhm.
cast iron, and it
Mm.
just all burnt, and it all just came off. It was the
It's
worst
just
experience ever.
yeah, it cakes together and then it comes off like a solid piece of crust. Like
Yeah.
there's nothing more disappointing. Like I'm a huge fan of Montreal steak seasoning.
Mhm.
I meal prepped everything with Montreal steak seasoning for a while to the point where I almost burnt myself out on it, kind of like lemon pepper. So uh, I had to switch it up a little bit. Now I'm really focusing on okay, I need 5 lunches. What would I like to eat for 5 days in a row? And then I dig a little bit deeper. Okay, what do I want each one of these meals to have? So for me, it's like I want a crunchy, I want a salty, I want a sweet, and
Mhm.
obviously I have to have protein.
Yeah.
So this weekend ended up being like baby peppers, a square of Dove dark chocolate,
Mhm.
a Baby Bell cheese, crackers, and pizza hummus, which, by the way, is absolutely terrible. It just tastes like I actually texted Steve this, y'all. I was like, "Oh, it turns out pizza hummus is terrible."
Disgusting.
But guess what? Like, I'm going to um, be a good steward of my money and eat it because I already spent the money and I don't want to go back to the store.
Suck it up,
So,
buttercup, eat it.
now, next time I know plain or jalapeno or everything bagel. Like literally any flavor except for that, y'all. It
Yeah.
tastes like somebody mixed tomato soup and 3 pounds of oregano into a tub of hummus. It's just really terrible.
So
Um,
what's your take on doing stuff like, I've seen a lot of people losing weight. They're eating like the cottage cheese that has like, low fat and it's higher in protein, and they'll add stuff to it. I forgot what a colleague of mine was doing that. He's been losing weight,
yeah,
or
I
he'll do
mean
like, crawfish tails and like wild rice blends and stuff like that. It looks good, you know, but
with cottage cheese.
well, no, no, like that's
Oh,
just one of his meals. Like he'll do like the cottage cheese, and he'll throw like, protein powder in it, so it's that like even more protein and stuff like
oh,
that.
got it. I mean,
So
I think if you're meal prepping, um, it's going to be whatever you're going to stick to. Is if you're meal prepping to lose weight is going to work the best.
mhm.
I like I actually like cottage cheese. I don't mind the texture at all. I don't it's kind of becoming like cauliflower. Cottage cheese needs to try less. It doesn't have to be everything else. Like I don't it just doesn't. I don't need my cottage cheese to be pizza crust. Like I don't know.
It's not the
I'm
same.
kind of it's not. I'm kind of intrigued by the Ninja Creamy. So I've seen people like blend the cottage cheese with vanilla extract and sweetener, and like candy bar mix-ins and stuff, and they put it into the Ninja Creamy, and it looks like ice cream. So I'm super
Hmm,
intrigued by that. Um, but I like cottage cheese with like pineapple or
yeah,
tomatoes, salt and pepper. Like,
I don't mind it.
eh,
I like it.
I don't mind it. Now that's the thing. I have to be in the mood for it. I have to buy 4 ounces of cottage cheese and eat it that day. I cannot. I couldn't eat it 5 days in a row
Hmm.
because I think too hard about what it is. It's curds, and that's gross. And then I psych myself out, so I can't. I can't do it.
I f-
Um,
I just don't eat a whole lot of dairy like I used to. Like I said, with this whole meal prep that I've been on, like it's just
mhm.
very, regimented, and so I don't do a lot of dairy. I don't do a lot of carbs like I used to. But I still do like once a week, sometimes twice a week, and
Yeah,
you know. But I mean, like some people, like they find ways to make it their meal preps like healthy and different all the time, and it's, you know, it looks good. I just don't know enough about like macros and this and that. I know it works for me, so I
yeah,
just
for
stick with
sure.
that.
Like, yeah. So obviously, everybody out there, like, nothing wrong with carbs, but Steve is doing something specific to him, right? And I think a good formula is just, a meat, a meat, a veg, a carb, or a meat, a veg, grain,
Yeah,
meat, veg, potato, like whatever you're trying to go for. But get organized, have those containers available, figure out
yeah,
what flavors you want to use, shop the sales. That's what determines what I'm going to meal prep is what's on sale.
yeah. Hmm.
Yeah. Otherwise, it would probably be Let me think about what's the most cheap right now. It'd probably be pork loin every single week.
I couldn't do it.
I wait until the chicken thighs go on sale, or ground beef or ground turkey. I think probably in a couple weeks I'm going to do like meatballs, but they won't be the same every day. One day is going to be marinara. One day is going to be more like a Swedish.
Uh-huh.
I like to make Greek meatballs. Those are really good meal prep, like a little feta cheese, mint, oregano on the inside, and then they're kind of like a little cheesy when you bite into them.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then eat them with tzatziki. Oh my god.
There was a point where I was doing a lot of meatballs for meal prep and whatnot, and I was doing like the chicharrones instead of breadcrumbs and egg and all that, and it was good, but I just kind of got tired of it after a little while. So
with breakfast, it has to be really simple and something I know I can eat all the time. So last week it was cereal, berries, yogurt, and this week it's like it took me. I spent 45 minutes like prepping other things, but it took me probably 15 minutes to make 8 waffles. It's a couple of minutes per waffle. Make the batter in bulk. Use the waffle iron,
Yeah. See, if I hear like cereal and all that stuff, and like you were describing, I'd probably end up doing like, well, we could do some Life cereal. It's all right, It doesn't matter about the sugar count. So, but what's a little bit?
So full disclosure, my brother bought some keto peanut butter cereal that he was like, yeah, this will be great. And then he ended up hating it. And I figured out just the right flavor and amount of yogurt and frozen blueberries to go with it to make it palatable. So this was a money-saving venture. Like, hey, I didn't have to pay for this. I'm not keto. I don't plan on ever going keto.
Right.
That much bacon and eggs makes my face break out really bad. Hey, if it works for you, more power to you. I just can't run on fat like that. It's just not. I can't.
Yeah.
And I get really, God, me and eggs have like a real love-hate thing. So, what about the egg muffins? Have you made those?
Like, what do you mean egg muffins?
Like frittatas? Like frittatas, like in a muffin pan. Those are really popular meal prep.
Yeah, I've done that before, but for me, I try to go more egg white because, the cholesterol. And granted, whole egg is a complete protein. I still have that familial higher cholesterol, so that's my genetics are just trash. What can I say? Other than this good-looking face, my genetics are just trash. High blood sugars, high cholesterol. But you try to find ways around it, and even then, from time to time, I'll do like if I were to do that, I would do the majority egg whites and then add like 1 egg, maybe.
Yeah.
But then you want to get creative and start adding like cheese and bacon and ham and like all sorts of stuff to it, though.
I really, really love egg whites. The key for me for egg whites is something spicy. I don't have to add fat back to it. Like I hardly keep cheese in the house. Because it's like, again, I'm not here enough, and if it's something that's gonna go bad, so I just kind of I just choose carefully. But some egg whites and like pickled jalapenos, like out of the jar, and tomato, onion, kind of get everything super caramelized. Add the egg whites in, and then maybe like turkey lunch meat, or even ground beef, or like turkey sausage. Once again, it's not a health statement. It's just like, this is what I like.
Yeah.
But I find that if there's enough flavor and texture things going on, that I'm not like bummed out about eating egg whites.
Yeah. Egg whites aren't bad, but to me, like I get tired of those really easily. If I do that, I have to have like a yolk in there. For me, it's just flavor, you know?
Yeah.
It's almost like if you overcook your egg whites, they're just trash, So you need that little bit of fat for it.
Yeah.
Just my opinion.
No, I totally get that. What about, so we talked about tray bakes and we talked about kind of the egg muffins, but what about overnight oats? Do you like those?
I haven't made those in quite some time. I have nothing against oatmeal. I love oatmeal. But the thing for me is that I like the steel cut oats. And so you have to let those go.
Oh my God, it takes forever.
Yeah. It's like over week oatmeal,
so steel cut, I went through a phase where I was like, I like steel cut oats. That means I'm better than you. About the flat roll. But anyhow, I love that texture. I love like a muesli. I like all the ancient grains. Like I love that stuff.
Yeah.
That is something that I would definitely put in the crock pot for like 12 hours overnight while I was asleep.
I could see that, yeah.
Yeah. And then it'll be ready in the morning. And that's the thing where I would be like, I like to just keep a well-stocked pantry and freezer. And so, of course, that looks different for everybody else. But I like shopping at Winco. And they have like a big bulk section. So I always have like shredded coconut, different kinds of raw nuts. I always have prunes on hand. I always have, like flax seeds and chia and hemp seeds and everything like that. So
Nice.
in other words, I could eat oatmeal 7 days in a row and make it different every single day. Like one day I could have apple butter from Cracker Barrel and some frozen apples on it. One day it could have vanilla yogurt and blueberries. One day it could have peanut butter. Like I keep PB2, the powder. I was baking with it for a while. And then I shout out to this other brand of peanut butter I buy. It's called Crazy Richards. The ingredients are peanuts. That's it. So it's not a statement. I friggin' love Jif. I could eat my weight in Jif. It's just like, for me, I just try to be really intentional about where I get sugar from. But yeah, dude, I could do oats for 7 days. And when overnight oats became a thing, I was just telling one of our listeners, Aussie, make this past week, that overnight oats became part of my personality for a while. I was eating them so often. So yeah.
There was a point where I got to like the chia seed pudding.
Yeah.
And as much as I like all that, I would eat way too much. So I'd be stuffed for hours and just lethargic, because you don't realize how much they expand after you eat them, after they've already expanded, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so. I was, and it's not, dare I say, like, it's not like a real great satisfying full. It's like I ate too much. Like, yeah.
Like, what the heck is wrong with me?
Just like up to here. I like to put chia seeds in my overnight oats too. But one thing that I saw, actually, it's on a meal prep. There's several meal prep accounts that I follow on Instagram. So I want to put this disclaimer out there that there's a lot of people out there that do things for their own reasons. And there's a lot of meal prep recipes out there that are using time-lapse video, and they're going to say it's going to take you 20 minutes, but it's probably 3 hours of work. They're not being honest. So just be wary of who you follow and where you get your information. But I will say this particular account was encouraging people to blend the chia seeds with the liquid first, so that the pudding was smooth afterward. Huge fan of that. Huge fan. Like,
interesting.
I would put a little sugar-free chocolate Jello pudding mix into the liquid, which was usually like almond milk at the time. And I would mix it with chia seeds and vanilla protein powder. And it was like a heck of a breakfast, but tasted like chocolate pudding, which dessert for breakfast. Yes, please sign me up. Where do I sign up? So
that does sound pretty good though.
It did not suck, but you do that 3 weeks in a row and you're like, I never want to see this again, ever. Ever. So I'm all set.
I feel like that with like a little bit of whipped cream would be pretty damn good. But again, if you, after like 3 weeks, I can imagine being tired of it.
There's I fell victim to one of those TikTok videos of somebody making a chocolate tart. And so what they did was they blended an entire roasted and like scooped out, obviously, butternut squash.
Okay.
With a bar of dark chocolate, like the Lily's, 80% no fun.
Oh no.
Chocolate, right? It tasted great, but the idea in the video, you were supposed to pour it into like a cake pan or like a pie pan and be able to slice it. Dude, it was just pudding. There's no slicing. It's firm up. Like there's no. And so the following week, I actually made another batch for myself. And I had chocolate pudding with granola and sugar-free whipped cream but this time when I blended it, I put like chocolate protein powder in it. It wasn't half bad, but about day 4, I was like, yeah, I'm good. That's enough. That was a great idea. We're not doing that. Thanks, bye.
What I wish I could do is just order a pizza and then like the memes. Oh, meal prepping. This is easy. And then have a
Ah,
beer off to the
one,
side.
one slice of pizza in each container and a
But
tiny.
let's be real. You can't have just one slice of pizza.
No,
Doesn't
that's
work
why
that way.
it comes in a round. Like it's meant to be.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. It's meant to be. It doesn't work. What about crock pot, Steve? Like, do you ever pre-prep for the crock pot?
I do that from time to time. Again, if I have the time for it,
Mm-hmm.
like on a day off, I'll totally do it because then you can cook all that. For me, it's always just chicken. Um, you can cook it all down and get it fork tender, and even with all that leftover liquid, you can take your chicken out, cook that liquid down, and then like let it thicken up, and you have a more flavorful chicken.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you could definitely do it with, of course, with like pork shoulder or stuff like that, or I mean roasts, whatever the case is. But I'm not opposed to the crock pot for meal prep at all either.
Yeah, I mean, so on the back end, for everybody out there who's listening, Steve's talking about making his meal prep meat in the crock pot. And what I'm getting at is prepping the crock pot meals ahead of time, like in a Ziploc bag, and like laying it flat in the freezer so that you can just peel those sides of the bag off, set the ingredients in the crock pot, and let it go, like a whole meal.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't specify,
Oh
but
no, most definitely. And then of
I
course,
like
like
that.
there are times where I've towards the end of like my protein being done, I'll throw in
Mm-hmm.
vegetables and stuff like that and let all that cook down together.
Yeah.
I've also been known to throw like rice, basmati rice or wild rice
Mm-hmm.
or some sort of grain in there to soak it all up. And I've done that. I haven't done that this year yet, but yeah, I'm not opposed to that at all.
Fun fact: wild rice is actually an aquatic grass. Did you know that?
I did not.
Yeah. A little nerdy food trivia moment for you. Um, I go through this like love hate with it. That's how I feel about steel cut oats. You can't cook wild rice enough to make it taste good. The texture is just like.
Fair enough.
Um, yeah. So I like to find 4 or 5, we'll say, like beef crock pot recipes. Put all the different components laid flat in a Ziploc bag and then freeze them. And it's like a nice, tidy little stack. Kind of looks like a bunch of files or
Yep.
papers on
Uh-huh.
top of each other. And then, hey, for everybody who's listening and you don't watch this on YouTube, I was just making hand motions to ensure that you understood, like you can see, right? Because I'm
Right.
smart. Yeah.
That's when we use our imagination.
Use your imagination. I have to start editing these and put sound effects in again. I say again, I think I do that one whole time. So, y'all, it's been a year. You live without them up until now. It's going to be fine.
You don't know what you got till it's gone.
You never knew what you're missing. Yeah, I love beef, and like sesame beef broccoli is one of my favorite things to do in the crock pot.
Uh-huh.
Really, really tasty. Sometimes I eat it with rice. Sometimes I don't. Sometimes I like to cut up a sweet potato in there and put it in there. So, yeah.
Have to get creative and start doing like sesame chicken and things
Oh,
like that, you know.
that's
That way
awesome.
it'll make my chicken and vegetables, less boring.
Right? Well, off the air, so to speak, I have a fantastic low sugar, if that's what you're into, right? Sesame, honey, garlic
Uh-huh.
chicken crock pot recipe. It's a winner. It's a banger. And it doesn't water down. So sometimes, you cook stuff in the crock pot and the condensation kind of ruins it, to be honest.
Yeah. Oh, agreed.
It like turns into soup, and that's one of the things that really pisses me off. But
Yeah. That's when you're like, okay, I gotta take the lid off and let this go and let it keep cooking down.
the other
And I
thing
get
is like,
salty. Ugh.
but even adding in commute time is like, I work and commute for more than at least 9-10 hours.
Uh-huh.
That's too long in the crock pot. There's meat has this magic kind of 6-7 hour window in the crock pot, where it turns into like shredded up sawdust after that. And
Yeah.
and
I
you
can see that.
you can't get it back. You cannot get it back. I need to teach the dogs how to turn the crock pot on, or actually, maybe that probably sounds like the worst idea ever.
They'll eat it all for themselves.
Steve, do you know if there's you were like an early adopter of air fryer, I think. I don't know. Do you know if there's like a Bluetooth crock pot out there? Does anybody know if there
I
is?
don't know about that.
Well, they have those lunch boxes that turn on to warm your lunch up. So it seems like, I mean, we put a man on the moon. Like we should have this figured out already. Like I just don't. We were also supposed to have flying cars by now, but you see
Apparently, you can
that
get them
didn't
with
work.
Amazon. Let's see. Touch air fryer, one touch digital control presets. I don't know if it says you can, but when you're looking at all these, you have all presets. Nothing that says Bluetooth. Oh, wait. Let's see here. One for $100. Let's see.
Oh, that's too much.
Dishwasher safe, flight, truffle. And there's a phone with it, so you could do it. Yeah, they make them.
What? That's amazing. That people are clamoring to know, and by the people I mean me.
Just Google it. Just Google Bluetooth air fryer. It'll take you to it on Amazon.
Yes, that's amazing.
Pass. I don't need all that technology. That's just
Well,
me.
I'm excited about our robot overlords. So the day that my coffee maker like tells me no, I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Do you ever meal prep salads, Steve?
No, I don't. I'm not a
Not
big
at all.
salad person.
Okay.
I like my vegetables cooked.
Hey, you're not the
By
only
day
one.
2, by day 3, like it just starts to lose its quality, and then I'm just like, ugh, this is gross.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think that you have to be strategic with it. I've made some make ahead salads sometimes that are more like bean based,
Mhm.
right? Like cooked beans or garbanzos on occasion, even though I kind of secretly hate them. Or like a grain salad where you add the lettuce separately. Those get really tasty.
Uh-huh.
Kind of like the things that can, the longer they sit in the dressing, the better they'll taste. Like Texas caviar, for example, like the black eyed pea salad. That's like
Uh-huh.
a really good meal prep option, and you can add grilled chicken to it. Make ahead breakfast burritos. I think we've talked about this, like in the freezer. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'd be about that.
Yeah. They hold up really well. I've been on this. I say I've been on a kick, and it's really just been that I've been hyper focused on tikka masala for like maybe 2 months, but I have not. I love tikka masala. I've eaten it a lot. I've eaten a lot of it. A lot of Indian food, but I just don't feel like making it. But
Yeah.
I think I saw a guy make ahead freezer chicken tikka masala and rice burritos, and I was like, oh, I don't hate that. I don't have the patience for it right now, but I don't hate that.
Same. I don't know if I could do that, but it sounds good.
Right? I don't know. Do you like Indian food? I think I asked you this before.
I do. Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, I like it. Kind of the hotter the better.
I haven't had enough to like really venture out, but yeah, I don't mind it.
Yeah. And I like its counterpart, and I hope nobody gets mad at me out there, but I kind of like the British curry powder too in certain applications. So kind of
Yeah,
like the crap
I
curry
agree.
powder as well. So
I
I like
know.
to use the crock pot to cook and shred down chicken, and I like to make chicken salad as a meal prep too.
Okay.
It's really, really good. Kind of like we talked about for Steve's sandwich shop. Like sometimes I'll mix half plain yogurt and half mayo, and then sometimes I can't be bothered. Shout out to Hellman's. But yeah, I like sunflower seeds in there, pecans, grapes, everything else,
Mhm.
and it makes a tasty meal prep with like pita chips or crackers or
Yeah.
like that stuff. So
Nice.
yeah, it's just about like finding. But the problem is I used to make these huge elaborate meal preps for myself, and by the time I would spend all that time in the kitchen prepping it, I would have no desire to eat it.
That's happened to me before. Yep. I know
Yeah,
exactly what you mean with that.
I think for chefs, a lot of the joy we get out of cooking is like watching somebody enjoy it, and when you're doing it for yourself, it's really hard.
Yeah.
So
No, I agree. You just want something fast, simple, and you don't want to
yeah,
mess with it.
yeah, that's why there's a loaf of bread, there's peanut butter, there's cereal, frozen pizza.
Yeah. And there's an egg or two, so we're good.
There ain't no eggs in this house. Oh, we're going through
There is for
it's a
me.
season. It's a season of my life. You kind of made me want to go get egg beaters though. I
Uh-huh.
used to make just omelets like full of stuff, and I would actually prep those ahead of time. Believe it or not, I would just stand there with my nonstick skillet. I would make like 3 or 4, put them in a little glass container.
Uh-huh.
But I was thinking if you got a pint of yolks and you got the quart of whites, you could probably mix it together to the ratio that you like, but it's still
Probably.
easy, and you can freeze them.
Yeah,
So
there you go.
yeah, I like to meal prep pancakes in that way.
Huh.
I like to put them in between sheets of parchment paper, freeze them in a gallon bag, so I can just grab like 2 or 3 at a time and then microwave them because I am lazy.
I've never done that. I need to, I
So,
guess.
yeah, it's perfect when you let yourself have carbs again.
Yeah. I mean, I do, like I said, once a week. Once a week, I just, all rules are out the window, especially when I'm making videos
Oh
and
yeah.
whatnot. But yeah.
So when you do like kale and broccoli for your meal preps, do you do anything special to it?
Typically not. I'll just cut them up real quick, and I used to just throw them in a pan and just throw the broiler on, let them char. But I've been too lazy for that lately. I'll cut them up and just throw them in raw, and a little salt, because by the time you take them out of the microwave when you're heating everything up, they cook down. It's fine.
Yeah. Do you use the like lacinato kale or like the curly one or the flat one? The dinosaur kale.
The curly one.
Yeah, like from the bag.
Yeah. Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
I like it too.
The thing about that is just that I hate the stems. And so there are times where I just too lazy. Like when I meal prep, there are times where, like I said, I just get lazy. I'm like, okay, it's done, it's over with, and I'll just hate life later. And sure enough, that holds to be true a lot of the times. But there are days where I'm like, okay, we're gonna put some love into this and that, and it's the greatest thing ever.
Yeah. No, for sure. Kind of at the end of the day, like if you're listening or if you're watching us on YouTube, thank you so much. We continue to gain subscribers. It's really amazing.
Oh, sweet. Thank you.
We're so thankful. I think we're like to 145 now, which is really cool. So listen, there's no right or wrong out there for meal prep folks. It's what you are going to feed yourself with. It's what works for you. But if you have questions or you aren't sure where to start, like we would love for you to reach out to us.
Yeah, reach out.
Podcast, Instagram, Facebook, or chefstevengonzalez.com. There is something special in the works. I know at least 2 people have asked, when is Chef Steve going to be featured in the logo for the Food for Thoughtcast podcast, the official logo?
Oh, wow.
It's coming. It's coming. Don't you worry. So he can cement his status as official co-host.
I forgot all about that. Thank you.
Hey, the paychecks have been in the mail, buddy. So I don't know why the logo is such a big deal, but
right.
So, but yeah, hey, at the end of the day, feed yourself with something tasty. Make it happen. Sometimes meal prep for people just means having bulk stuff prepped in the fridge so they can grab it. Cut up vegetables, cut up fruits. What I have heard people call hand fruit, and I absolutely hate that phrase, but banana, orange, apple, those types of things that you eat out of your hand, obviously, but it just sounds weird, so I don't like it. But yeah, just having those things ready and available, sometimes that's perfect for somebody. And sometimes me and Steve, we need a container that we can grab, right?
Yeah.
But whatever it looks like, there's no right or wrong. Get out there, make some great food, make your life
happy. Yeah.
Yeah, make yourself happy. Steve, we gotta go.
Sounds fun.
Take care. Bye.
Bye.